Welcome to Getting to Know You. This is the first segment of Getting to Know You in what we consider the new year, sort of like school starting. We took a break this summer, and it's not too late to celebrate what a beautiful summer it has been. If we think back to last year at this time, everything was brown. The leaves on the trees along the entrance roads were brown, and there was a lot of discussion of whether they would be coming back this year. But of course they did, and everything was beautiful. The natural surroundings were amazing. The tall trees, they still are. I'm looking out of the windows because we're doing this taping in the dining room. And you can see the beautiful green lawns taken care of by the landscape contractor who comes here. The design is basically some talented landscape architect that we never have learned the name of. And they're flowers that were planted by the entrance, the ones that can withstand the weather better, and the beautiful new ones that are in the front of the building. All a perfect summer for enjoying the bounty of summer. The one part of it that I haven't mentioned yet is what we as people enjoy, and that is plants that are brought to us close by, both annuals and perennials, and many of them in pots where we're likely to see them when we're enjoying the outdoors, and add as a kind of jewel to the beautiful surroundings. So today I'd like to offer appreciation to the members of the garden club. To say it's a club is sort of a funny thing, because I learned that they really don't meet. Everybody just in the signing up to be in the club has a job to do. So what we thought we would do is try to capture some of those people who we could find easily and take pictures of them as they were doing their work, and then some places where what they do is also pictured, such as the 2 pollinator gardens. So I will also mention the garden club members who are working, but for whom we did not have pictures. So are you ready? Here are the people that we captured in a picture doing their jobs. You'll see them with the watering can and the marvelous aprons that you get if you're a member of the garden club. Barbara Eckelmeyer, Barbara Hallows, Dick and Lorna Kaluzny, and Judy Hatke, Benta Ott, Jean Tardif, Pat Osberg, Carol Umscheid, and Doreen Malouf, who, as you know, chairs the garden club. So the people who also are out there having an assignment and getting the water and watering the plants and deadheading are Barbara Brandt, Lucille Dawson, who, by the way, is, I think, a veteran in this. I will explain later. Bev and Tony Glockler, Marion Knight, Dana McDonough, Carol Ober, Sylvia Parker, Hope Pepe, Nancy Prince, Barbara Purnell, and Mary Sirocco. I wanted to say a special word about Carol Ober because she and Rick take care of the bird houses. That's another special treat for us to see something up close. And I understand that Bruce Malouf has actually even built some of the bird houses. So that's the garden club. I think you will want to thank them if you see them, but I know that we all enjoy the big pots of flowers on the pool patio, for example, or the pots of flowers that are right outside the window here at the cafe. But to conclude this meeting, I thought it would be interesting to meet 4 of the members of the garden club who have taken on a new task relatively recently, and they're going to be working all year long. Doreen Malouf and Carol Upshide and Judy Hatke and Pat Osberg will be joining me, and we did this on a Saturday morning when they were here taking a big bunch of flowers that came from a florist delivered yesterday, and we're putting them in the vases to go on the tables in the dining room and the cafe. And they've taken over that job, and they love doing it on Saturday morning. I think there's the appeal of the blueberry pancakes as well, and arrange them and put them out on the tables. And they're signed up for the whole year to come, while I guess many of the garden club members will be taking a rest as fall comes in, and then the cold, the first frost, then only the evergreens to be seen all around us. And then next year we'll start up again with the beauty that we have here at Stonebridge and are so lucky to have. So let me now talk to our dining room flower arrangers. So I turn to people who are going to be continuing with a garden club activity for the whole year, unless they decide they're not going to do it anymore. And that's why we're in the dining room, and that's why we have some flowers in front of us in the vase. Because one of the activities that the garden club undertook is to prepare the flowers that arrive here in a big bucket and arrange them and put them out on the tables on Saturday morning of all times. And with me is Pat Osberg and Judy Hatke, who are part of that team that's signed on, I guess, for the year.
Yeah.
Not just not for watering in the summer when there might not be
forever.
rain. Right. So that's an activity that I thought you'd appreciate, all year, knowing that it's going on, and that we're just not talking about people showing up one day a week to water plants, as we've already shown you. So Pat, why did you decide to do this, to get up on Saturday morning early and be part of this 4-person group?
Okay. Well, I absolutely, all my life, have loved flowers. Just love flowers, and I love to look up close and find all the details and everything. And coming out here and living out at Stonebridge has been such a delight for me, because the meadows are out here, and all the plantings and the bluebells in the spring in the woods and everything. It's just full of flowers. And also I was looking for a service project.
Okay.
And the two came together. So,
and here you are,
yes.
10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
10 o'clock on Saturday morning, yes.
And of course you, like many people, will be appreciating the garden movie on Tuesday when it's snowing outside, because I think that's another thing that will continue with the garden club, right? Yeah. And Judy, how about you? I heard the meadow mentioned. I think that I understand that's something that you're interested in.
Yes, every morning, weather permitting, I come out and take a walk around the, 1.2 miles, and that takes in the meadows, and mainly the East Meadow is where the beautiful flowers come up every spring. And I take my camera on my telephone, and if I see a particular plant that all of a sudden has come into bloom, and just about every day there's a new one, so I take a picture of it, and besides having it for myself, I share it with my daughter-in-law, who lives in Massachusetts, and she's big into garden clubbing and growing things, and whatever. So
So you have a record, really, that one could look back on.
Yes, and it's beautiful. I love looking at them. And pretty much what Pat said, that's the way I feel. I was asked to come on Saturday morning, and I had gotten up early for pancakes on Saturday morning anyway, so I thought, sure, why not? So here I am, but I love doing it. And the ladies are very gracious and very nice, and we just have a good time.
Right. I realized that when you came to visit to take pictures, which are up on.
And then I get to sit with people at dinner, and if they complain about the arrangement, I'll say, "Excuse me." No, it's something worthwhile, and it's a happy thing to do.
I think it's interesting that when I first asked you about this, was that you have no idea what flowers you're going to get. In fact, I took a picture of them out in the buckets, and Friday they arrive, and you have to do something interesting with whatever is there. So that's sort of another nice challenge. How can you make something look good? Right. Well, I want to thank Pat and Judy, and I want to talk to the rest of your team. So I'm going to call them in now, okay? Thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now I'm very happy to welcome the third and fourth member of the team, which is, I'm considering the annual or all year long team of the Garden Club, in addition to doing lots of other things. Carol Upchide is sitting next to me here, and we may have seen a picture of her as we were running pictures of people doing things outdoors and performing their tasks. I think of the 21 people that are in your club, Doreen, we have photos of 6 to 8 and the pollinator garden, and so we're glad to have you here in person and after watering, and of course, Doreen, we're glad to have you here because everyone just seems to mention that they don't quite say it this way, but Doreen said I should do this. But you had to think up what it would be that they should do, so that's the idea person and the implementer. I also want to say that we have very aware of the aprons that people are wearing. First of all, it's nice to see people who are doing the plants and so on wearing their aprons, but it turns out that the one with the darker Stonebridge is the vintage one. That's the first version. And we were glad to see the new version, which you will have already seen as the title for this, this segment. Carol, let me turn to you. Caught you watering, and now you're doing this and so on. What made you decide to, put time into this kind of activity?
Well, when I moved to Stonebridge almost 2 years ago now. Oh,
and we want to talk to our camera.
When we moved to Stonebridge almost 2 years ago now, I was trying to find a group that I could get involved in, and the garden club just seemed like the perfect fit. It was really a win-win because I like to do things with flowers and gardening, and I also hope that we're helping to make our property more beautiful for all our residents. So with Doreen, I've gotten really involved with watering, and the pool patio is especially close to my heart. So
Not many people see that. It was so nice to be able to put up pictures of that.
So we have those lovely pots that the maintenance garden team has planted, and we keep them up to date by watering and deadheading. And then with Doreen, we planted a sweet little pollinator garden in the corner of the pool patio, which we hope will attract bees and butterflies.
I think we also have a picture of that.
And this is the first year, and Doreen tells me it takes 3 years before it really comes into full bloom. So I'm looking forward to that. So in general, it's just a fun club to be a part of, with working with people that I enjoy, and also helping to make our property look more beautiful.
Right, and you're going to be working here all year long with the dining room project.
Yes, this just started, I guess, maybe a couple of months ago.
Right.
And it's really fun. We come each Saturday morning and arrange flowers for the dining room table. And it's always an adventure because we don't know what's going to be delivered.
Right.
So we work with what we get. And last week we had sunflowers, which were a huge hit. And this week I think we have maybe daisies, which were a little more of a challenge.
Right.
It's been fun working each Saturday morning.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned that all during the year too, people will be able to go to the garden themed movie that is played when there's snow on the ground, and we remember how nice it is to be out in a garden. And I think the pollinator gardens also are interesting because it's a way of giving back. It's starting something new, and so where did you get that idea, Doreen?
Well, I'm a master gardener, so I have a lot of interest in gardening in general. And when I came here, as a matter of fact, I was delighted to see the meadow.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was something maybe I could add a little to. And then now the meadow is doing quite well, and we decided we could have more pollinator gardens. So each time we start something new, we always check to make sure that it's okay. And when I talked to Mark about the pollinator garden by D-Wing, he was quite enthusiastic. And I noticed yesterday that some of the landscapers were deadheading a bit in there.
Really?
So they must think it's their garden now too.
Territory.
And I was about to rush out and say, no, I want to save those seeds for the birds. But I just stayed inside and watched. So it's all a kind of a part of the total picture of helping myself and other residents here enjoy the outdoors. We have a beautiful landscape here. The landscapers do a terrific job. And our job is really to do the finishing touches. It's really very easy to find work for any resident that would like to be involved. We only ask for 15 minutes a week, although those of us doing the flowers here in the dining room and cafe spend longer than that. But we can help the resident choose work that suits their needs.
And I think
so
there
that
are
anybody can be
21
involved.
people I've counted on your list.
Yeah.
And when I went around and talked to people to prepare for the program, they didn't know who else was on the list because they said, you know, I don't have to go to any meeting. I just have to do what I'm assigned. And I was thinking how nice that is to have that assignment, because if you see the flowers on the patio of the cafe, that's not what the landscaping crew is hired to do.
Right.
And if people weren't willing to water or even plant them, we wouldn't have that kind of close-up beauty.
Right.
And what we don't have a picture of, and I'm really sorry, is that I learned from you that the Obers take care of the bird houses.
Yes.
So we'll have to do a fall version of this.
That would be very good.
See what's going on there. But I do think that to have the pool planters and something new that's up close. We took pictures of the patio, and I think people caring for that, deadheading and so on, just make it such a much more cheerful place. And you just can't expect your hired team to do that kind of thing. Is that really what's
I think that's
part
really
of your
so.
thinking?
The first year that we came here, many of the annuals were doing really poorly, and it was mainly because there was no rain, so there was no water.
Right.
And the next 2 years, we watered everything very well, and everything thrived. And this year, we've been blessed with a lot of rain, so we haven't had to water quite as much. But it's the finishing touches that really make a garden look beautiful. And that's what we're busy doing.
Right, and when you have 21 people, you can give people a manageable space.
Right, right.
To
And
take
you know, I
care
have
of.
to say that the people doing the gardening, many of them talk about having gardened in the past. They really enjoy doing their bit to
Right.
make this community a little bit better. And I think many take pride in their work.
Right,
You know, I've seen them showing their friends and neighbors what their job is, and,
Right.
it's doable because each job is personally selected for the resident. They
Right.
get to choose what they feel most comfortable doing.
And you have wonderful green plastic watering cans.
We're slowly getting supplied, and
And
we've tried to get lightweight hoses to make things better for people. Each year there's some new changes that are beneficial. And one thing we're working on for next year, we're hoping to get a beekeeper to come and set up beehives in our meadow. It's something we had started to work toward this year, and I think next year it may happen. At least I have my fingers crossed.
okay, well,
So that'll be interesting too.
That would be fun to watch, yeah. And of course, our other meadow, the West Meadow, is an example of, if we just let it be, something will happen. And to see the milkweed and an amazing stand of Queen Anne's lace, which I know is probably very common, but when you
Yes,
see
that's
that,
beautiful.
it really is lovely. So it's been really great learning about this and showing the pictures that we have. We don't have quite enough, but I think you'll enjoy seeing what we did take, and gives some special tribute to people who have been making this place really look beautiful and make us feel even better about Stonebridge. I think the layout, the landscape architecture is really incredible. So we have something really good to work with and to support. So thank you for what you're doing, and Doreen for constantly inspiring us to think of new and better ways that we could be having a lot of fun, or satisfying our own instincts to be out there and looking at bees and so on. We found a slug the other day when Barbara Hallows was looking at something. And I just wanted to also say that the large tubs that are outside of the corridors to the greenway have always been something that people at Stonebridge cared about, at least for a long time. I know that you and when I was living there, enjoyed seeing those birds. But Lucille Dawson has maybe been the most faithful, and actually planted from seed the one on the west side.
Yes.
And I just wanted to pay tribute to her, since I don't think she's out there right now watering. And
She's been very attentive to that year
right,
after
and
year.
I think the Glocklers
And
are
yes.
taking over for her.
Yeah.
So it just goes on, and we're just so grateful to all of you, and Carol being relatively new, jumping in and serving double duty, and Lorene, thank you so much for caring and making it possible for a lot of other people to care. It's really
And
great.
could I add just one thing? Anybody is welcome to join the garden club. All you have to do is give me a call, and we'll work together to find something that you might enjoy doing.
So we can have a longer list than next year 30, right?
Maybe.
Okay, well, thank you for listening.